Oh, don't be nervous. It's just you. You got our one-on-one attention. All right. So let's go ahead and do round robin real fast and just kind of throw out numbers of how many, gosh, I didn't even write down how many I've invited, but how many no's you have and just kind of where you stand. Since it's just you and Michelle, we have time to chat.
I grabbed my list, and just for the month, I didn't go through for today, although I did send out several invitations. But I just counted up for the month, and I only have 47 out, and I thought I had more than that. And which, I mean, I know 47 is a decent amount, but I was really wanting to do a lot more than that this month. But I have 47 invites out, and I counted up 15 definite no's. I have several people who said that they are interested, but right now, isn't a good time, but potentially in September or October. And then I have 3 people who I am talking with about getting challenge packs ordered to start in September in my next group. So
that's great. Hey, I think that's great. And you're already at 6 points, right? Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. You've put out a lot of invites for just starting out, because a lot of people, they'll kind of stop at like 10 and say, oh, I got 10 no's. And so I think that's good that you have as many. And you still have people on your list then that you can invite like for next month and this and that?
Yeah, I'm working through. I went through and I listed just people off of the top of my head, and then people from Facebook, just a few, and I have 75 on my list.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and finish that at least this month and more. I want to have out 100. I mean, that's definitely my goal.
That's your goal. Good. You're shooting for 10?
For 10
Success
points.
10?
I really, really want the free summit ticket. Like, that's my goal. And I hit it. I was only a coach. I signed up on July 26th, but I hit it in July, and I hit it this month of 5.
Yeah.
And so, I really want to hit at least 5 next month so I can go to summit for free.
Yeah, absolutely. I would go for it too. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I would like to hit 10 this month. I think that would be exciting. And I mean, as far as I can go, I want to go with it. So
yeah, very cool. And you're Emerald now, correct?
I am, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge. Yeah. All right, how about you, Michelle?
All right, sorry, I had to set the mute off. Honestly, I haven't been keeping track this week while I've been on vacation, just because I'm enjoying as much as I can on the beach and all that stuff. But I have had several conversations. I've had a couple people contact me. Actually, I had a cousin contact me today, and she wants me to place 2 orders of Shakeology for her. So I told her I would take care of that when I got home this weekend. And that will go under Brian's account. So I'll be getting points for him.
Okay. What are you at now?
I have 4 the last I checked.
That's
I don't know. I have a couple people that are supposed to be ordering, but I don't know when exactly. I have one girl who's supposed to sign up as a coach, and I need to message her back and find out when she's going to do it, because she said sometime this week.
Okay.
So I should definitely be at 6 by the end of the week. I'm expecting, but I'll have my at least SC5 for my account.
Yeah.
But I'm still shooting for 10. But yeah, I've got lots of conversations and stuff going on. So
good. I have no doubt that you'll reach it. That's good. I'm at about, if I could click out, because I totally forgot. Here I am asking you all, and then forgot to write my numbers down. But I believe the last time I checked, I was at 41 invites, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 no's. So there's a lot of people, and I've been following up with a lot of those. Actually, there were a couple that I didn't write down today that were no's. So I probably have more like 12 no's. And then I will send out some more invites tomorrow. I am at SC5, and I would like to get to 10, and I would like to get Adam to at least 5. So I've got my work cut out for me, but we all like challenges, right? And so, yeah, I think each of you on this call tonight are, all 2 of you are consistent, and it shows. I mean, you are consistent in your posts, you're consistent in your behaviors, you're consistent in, doing what you say you're going to do. And that's obviously what's going to move your business forward, and what's going to make connections with people, what's going to grab people. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight, is just the idea of engaging with people, connecting with the right people. I know we've talked about it a little before, but it doesn't hurt to say it over and over and again, because this is a business about relationships, as you both well know. I mean, Larissa, I know you're new to this coaching business, but Michelle can attest to it, and I know that you're seeing it as well. The people that you have a relationship with, or who have at least talked to and connected with, those are the people that are more likely going to join a challenge group, or going to trust you enough to look at the coaching opportunity, versus the people who you haven't talked into it in years to, or even people that you meet on Twitter or something, or Instagram, and it's very rare. And Michelle, you would probably agree, it's very rare that you have someone that you connect with on, let's say, Instagram, that you have no idea who it is, but you've connected, and that day they end up buying a challenge pack. Would you agree, Michelle, that it's rare?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that comment.
I mean, I've been in the business for 4 years now, and I can tell you I've had one person in 4 years' time who was a complete stranger to me, and in 1 day's time bought a challenge pack. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, I don't even know you, but sweet. But the majority of people, if I were to look at my list, and I actually did look at my list this past week, from when I first started to even now, those people that I've invited that respond back to me are people that I personally know, or who I have personally grown to know. They are not people who I have had zero relationship with, who just suddenly decide to trust me. And so, Michelle and I wanted to talk a little, share maybe a few stories about why that connecting is so important, and why just staying consistent in your behaviors is so important. It's one of our 3 vital behaviors, which is, invite, invite, invite. But then the whole idea of just being proof the product works, and just connecting with those people. I feel like that's a huge vital behavior that sort of gets missed, I think. We create our list, and we put people on those lists, and we start inviting, and we forget that, sometimes it's hard to forget that these people are real, and that they have real needs, because it's easy to get tied up in the numbers and look at people as points. And that's the thing that we do not want to do as coaches. We don't want to, these challenge groups are great, or these cup challenges are great, because it gets us engaged with more people, and it gets us really excited and motivated about inviting more people. But at the same time, we don't want to get into that trap of just inviting to invite and just looking at everyone as a possible point, right? Michelle, do you have anything to add to that part of it?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I wanted to add that it made me think of an example from just this week. I put in a sponsored ad, and I have a couple people who had said they were interested, and I have messaged them. And from the beginning, the one girl instantly said that, she wanted to know, she'd be interested, but needed to know what the cost was, because that was a factor. Um, and so I didn't want to completely like ignore that or not comment on that, but I did not want to jump right into it because I wanted to see what her needs were and what interested her about the program and go from there. So I specifically put that in my message to her and said, I know that you're concerned about the cost. And I said, I'll be happy to go over that with you. But I wanted to get to know a little bit about your goals and needs first to make sure that this program is the one that is best for you. And I did say, you know, the cost ranges, but what I can say is you generally are looking about spending somewhere about, you know, $4.25 a day for the month. And it could be a little bit more than that. It could be a little bit less, depending on what option that you go. So I wanted to address it a little bit because I always feel like I don't want to be like completely ignoring it. And especially when you're having a written conversation, like you want to be able to be as specific as you can with them a little bit. So I'm waiting to see how that goes because, you know, it was kind of, I really didn't want to get into that yet because I'm really trying hard to ask a lot of questions and build that relationship. And you know, I don't know her, so, and she doesn't know me, and I want to make sure that I'm letting her know, you know, like that I'm here to help you. I'm not here just to sell you this program. So it'll be interesting to see how that folds out. But what you were just talking about with building a relationship is something that I'm really working on, especially with people that I don't know, because honestly, up until this point, 95% of the people that I work with or have gotten programs from me are people that I know. It's very rare for me to have had somebody that I didn't know, you know, other than my leads that are assigned. But I've noticed that it seems like they're so busy in time, even though I'm trying to connect with them, that they don't really take the time to give me thoughtful responses. Those are far and few between. And so I'm sure you see that as well, Carrie. I know we've talked a little bit about that. It's definitely challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that is something that I'm really trying to work hard on because I do think that it's important, and I do want people to know, you know, that I'm here to help them, and I want to see them get results with these programs. And I feel like asking those questions is the only way that's going to build that relationship. So
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, that kind of reminded me of like what I've been doing with Instagram, and I've kind of been trying to watch some webinars that Shalene Johnson's put out. And she really talks about the importance of just engaging with people on there. And the more you show up, you know, the more people start to like your posts. Like I have a few who like my posts pretty often. Those are the people that I notice. You know, I don't know these people, but 9 times out of 10, I'll see their name pop up on a post that I've, you know, any post that I post, they seem to like every single time. And I'm, you know, even though, and for me, I think, well, gosh, I don't even know these people, but I definitely would be interested in getting to know them because they have taken the time to go to my page and look at my pictures, even if it's not, because as you know, just like with Facebook, Instagram's the same way. Hey, Instagram's the same way where you don't always see everyone you're following. You don't always see their pictures. And so for me, like if I see so-and-so has liked my picture, you know, 5 times in a row, I think, well, gosh, I don't think she's necessarily seeing it every single time. She's like purposely going to my page. So just keep that in the forefront too. And that's what I've been really thinking about and trying purposely to do is to really reach out to people who I can connect to and who I want to connect to, who kind of fit my target market. And that's where another thing, you know, there's a whole lots of different spiders that we could go, you know, spider webs that we could go off into. And I want to try to stay focused on this whole connecting thing. But I think, you know, that's important is that when you start to show up in those people's news feeds and you start to like people's things and start to really interact with them, you start to build that trust just through liking a post, 5 times or 3 times or whatever. Because then they start to notice that, hey, Larissa's really, I don't know who this Larissa girl is, but I'm interested in getting to know her because she's obviously spent the time to take a look at my stuff. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. So is your sound gone, Michelle?
Oh,
No, go ahead, Larissa.
It
Now it's there.
it is, but I have to keep. It says safe driving mode, and I have to keep tapping on speak.
What were you going to say, Larissa?
oh, I said, yeah, I agree with you. Like, those are good points. And then I realized I was muted.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at some of my notes honestly, from when I first started out as a coach. That was 4 years ago. And social media was just kind of like Facebook was just kind of, it had been there, but you didn't have to pay for ads. You didn't have to, like, all that stuff is brand new to Facebook within the last 2 years. So 4 years ago when we started coaching, a lot of the stuff wasn't as big as it is now as far as social media goes. And so I was just kind of looking back at the notes that I took when I talked to my coach on a weekly basis, and she had some really great stuff. And for the 45 minutes that she would talk, I took nonstop notes. So I'm looking at it, and it's just interesting because even 4 years ago, the stuff that I wrote down is still so true today. Like, she told me, one of the things she told me to do was compliment 10 people daily. I've totally have gotten away from that. But how easy is that to just go to people's walls and show them a little love? Just going to, and I've done it, but it's very sporadic. So if you put that on your list of your top 10 things to do, you have your invites, you have your follow-ups, and then you have 10 compliments a day to just people on your Facebook walls. And you can private message them, or you can comment on a post, or you can just put something on their wall that you really, you want to make sure that it's heartfelt. But I just think that's one way of engaging with people and kind of building relationships with them. Another thing that I wrote down that she had said for me to do was to do 2 shares a day. And that can be 2 shares about your business, 2 shares about your life, 2 shares about anything. I know a lot of webinars that I've seen, it says have 3 to 4 posts a day. I think 2 is still okay as well. But basically, if you were to do 2 shares a day, and if you were to compliment 10 people daily, and then do your invites, I feel like you'll be getting a lot of interaction going just through those things. And I'm guilty of not doing those things. And as I'm reading this, and as I was preparing for this call, I'm thinking, here I am trying to rack my brain of like how to meet more people and how to interact with more people. Well, those are simple things, right? It would take 5 minutes to compliment 10 people. And I'm not talking about like, hey, I like your fingernails today. Those look great. Like real genuine things. If they have cool fingernails, that's great, but I don't, as you can see. So don't compliment me on mine. Michelle, anything?
There. No, I was going to be silly and say, well, you can see the grease in my nails, but I got them mostly cleaned. I had to fix Alex's bike chain today on our bike ride. That was fun. But that comment that you just made, it also reminded me of when we were at Summit, and they were talking about, I think it was Janelle Summers that was talking about like, share. And so again, I think it's all kind of the same stuff, but different ways to kind of put you out in maybe somebody else's mind. So maybe you're not directly complimenting them if there's, nothing out there. Like you said, you want to be genuine. You don't want to be like you're pulling it out of thin air type thing. So maybe you just see some posts of theirs that you like. And so if you follow that like, and either comment or share something that will kind of stand out generally to that person. They might be like, oh, wonder what she's up to. And then they might even kind of Facebook snoop on you or something. And maybe they'll see something and then, send you a message. I noticed that even people that I'm not necessarily like following that order, but maybe I've recently liked some stuff over the last few days because they're showing up in my news feed. I have had a few people that have messaged me and said and asked me like, hey, I saw that you're doing such and such, or I've been interested in Shakeology. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And so I think that they're just good ways to have conversation starters, or even to share like what you're doing. So I've wanted to do a video and share this, and I may still do it. I just haven't had the opportunity or the place to be able to do it. I was on the beach the other day, and I met a girl who actually is from Columbus, and she had 2 little ones with her. Her oldest was playing with my 2 because her baby was sleeping, and so we got to chatting and stuff. And long story short, before she ended up leaving, I said, hey, are you on Facebook? I would like to stay connected with you, because she had told me she was a nutritionist for the hospital, one of the hospitals there in Columbus. And we talked, just a little bit about it. And I told her, I said, well, I'm a fitness instructor and a health coach, and I'm very interested in nutrition. In fact, I've been looking at a few courses that I've been considering taking. And so I would like potentially, to pick your brain a little or ask you some questions and so forth. And so she was like, oh yeah. And she's like, my name is like totally, there'll probably be thousands that come up. So I did it right then and there. And she's like, this is me. And, I sent the friend request, and she accepted it later. And when I saw like through her page, like she's into riding a bike. I saw that she was in some kind of competition. I thought, actually before we left, she had asked me if I did anything with kickboxing. And I said, well, actually I teach Turbo Kick, which is a choreographed kickboxing type class. And I used to teach kickboxing prior to that. And she had said she had thought she would be interested in doing something like that because they took the classes away from her local Y, and she liked to have the variety and training and everything. And I said, well, hey, when I get back from vacation, I'll send you a message and I can tell you more about the Turbo Kick certification and stuff like that. So, just the little bit of conversation that we got into, I was just thinking like she has a great potential with her nutrition background, and her passion for, whatever she's doing, whether she's doing some kind of long distance bike racing or triathlons, I don't exactly know. And the fact that she had mentioned that she runs and likes kickboxing, I just thought, wow, like this potentially could be somebody who may be totally interested in the coaching opportunity. But at least if not, she would be somebody who, if she becomes an instructor, it just could lead so many different routes and avenues. And I normally am totally like chicken to say, hey, are you on Facebook? Like I'd like to connect. Like I don't want to seem like, I don't know, some kind of crazy stalker or something like that. But it came out totally natural. I was really like just glad that the opportunity presented itself basically. And so I wanted to share that because I was just thinking, here I am, I'm enjoying, we're enjoying the beach. I wasn't, beach bodied out or anything like that. I wasn't, wasn't even really thinking about that. It was just something that totally naturally came up in conversation. And I thought, those are the times where when I hear some of these other top coaches talking about how they make these connections at Target or different places and stuff. And I always think like, okay, well, I don't know, like in most cases, I feel like it would be a weird type of situation because most people are kind of closed off anyways and they don't want to have conversations. So like, how do I go about that naturally. And if I have my kids with me and they're like, Mom, let's go. Like they hate me having conversations. It's like, I don't know if that's necessarily practical for me, but so it's not something I'm going to do every day. But if I do meet people, like if there's, if the opportunity presents itself, like just go for it and have the confidence basically. So do you have anything to add to that or any stories to share, Carrie, or did you have anything else?
I think that was good. I mean, I think you said a lot in that. Just, I liked how you said it was natural and it didn't feel forced. And I feel like a Target situation for me, that would feel forced. But that's because I know in the beginning, like I had these feelings of, and Monica would tell me all the time, because I'd say, well, she'd say, just start conversations with people. And I'd say, well, what do I say to them? She said, hi. Oh, what do I say after I say hi? She said, how are you? I'm like, okay. So it's just, and I totally get that feeling of not wanting things to be forced, but at the same time, you still want to connect with people. So I think it just, you're right. I think a lot of people are closed off and are kind of doing their thing at stores. So it's hard to get those connections. But when you can make a connection like you did, that's very natural, that works. I mean, you go with it. So I think that's good. And I think it's great that you said, that you made the connection about Facebook and then simply followed up by, I just have some questions about nutrition, because I think, ultimately she was not even probably thinking a thing of, oh, you're weird. Why do you want my Facebook? I think we naturally put that on ourselves. We think, oh, they're going to think that I'm weird. When in reality, if someone asked me that, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's connect on Facebook. So I always have to turn things around and think, okay, if this person were coming to me, how would I see that? All right. So we have 10 minutes here. You know what I'm saying? So I think I think that's great. I think that was a good point. Some other things that I was just kind of looking at that still goes along with connecting. So I'm just going to run through some of the notes that I wrote down, and feel free to take notes, whatever, but it's recorded too. So when we first signed up, I don't even know if you remember this, Michelle, but they really talked about the sharing cycle versus the 3 vital behaviors. And it was still incorporated the inviting and the personal development. It just looked differently. So she really talked, one thing I wrote down was just talking to people and sharing every opportunity that you can. And it does not need to be sharing the Beachbody opportunity. It could be just sharing your life and asking questions about their life and connecting. Because anytime that you can make a connection on some sort of level, that's adding a person to your list. It doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily join a challenge group or join your business, but they could be a referral for you. You never know what that person is going to be. So you always want to be trying to connect with people. Another key thing is, and I talked about this before, is not to get wrapped up in the numbers. It's very easy to, and I know for this competition, and I love the idea of saying we're going for no's, because it's easy to think, I need to get more yeses. I need to get more yeses. But obviously the more no's you get, the closer to a yes you're going to get. But if you only ask 10 people and they're all no's and you quit, you have nowhere to go from there. And then, always remembering that we are here to help people and to be their biggest supporters. So I talked to someone on Instagram today. We're kind of in a conversation, and she is just recently has become type 2 diabetic, and she is doing a raw vegan diet. And she said, it's going very well. She's lost 40 pounds. And so we're talking back and forth. And she said, the only thing is I don't get much support. So that's a light right there, like, aha, not that I'm going to necessarily try to sell her something, but I can be that support for her. I said, well, what kind of support? Like, is your husband not supporting you? who's not supporting? And she said, no, my husband's very supportive. My mom is very supportive. It's her in-laws that are not supportive of this decision. And I said, well, you know what? You just keep doing what you're doing. The proof is in the pudding, basically. When you continue to get the results that you're getting, they're going to notice. And, you're doing something good for yourself. You're not doing something good for them. So, essentially, don't worry about it. So that's something to remind yourself over and over, is that we are here to support people and be their biggest supporter, because oftentimes people don't have that support. And so we need to be checking in with those people who say, I'm not ready, or I'm doing it on my own. That's where those notes on our spreadsheets come into play. When you're writing down those notes of people saying, I'm doing things at the gym and things are going really well. That's where you can come back in 3 months, 4 months down the road and say, hey, Larissa, how's it been going? You said you were doing, those gym things. I just started, you can pull in something you've been doing. I've just been starting some new workouts at the gym as well, and it's going really well. So I thought of you. How's it going? So when we can make those connections, we continue to be their biggest supporter. And I've been working with this girl for 2 years. She's never bought anything, but she's someone who I've continued to check in with every 3 to 6 months. And she's appreciated it. I say, I never want to be a bother, but I want you to know I'm here for you no matter what. I don't care if you buy anything from me. I want you to be on the path of your health and fitness journey, always going forward. And she said, I totally appreciate that, Carrie. Thank you so much. That makes me feel really good that you continue to check on me. And then always make people a priority and focus on having fun. I think those are some good things. I wrote that down and I underlined, make people a priority. Not necessarily, your business is obviously people. So when you're making people a priority, you're making your business a priority. And then the last thing I wrote on that phone particular day that I talked with her is, when you focus on numbers, they won't come. Are you like doing a haunted house here, Michelle? So when you focus on the numbers, they won't come. So when you start to panic and think, oh my gosh, I have X amount of days left. I haven't gotten these invites in. And I do this all the time. It's easy to get wrapped up in what is not going right instead of what is going right. So just keep that in the forefront as well. Michelle, do you have anything else to add? Or Larissa, you are more than welcome to chime in. We have about 4 minutes and 26 seconds.
Larissa, do you have anything? I've talked a few. I have something I can share if we have the time, but if not, it's not a big deal.
I don't think I have anything. I don't know. I told her I was nervous with it just being the 3 of us. I said, I feel like I'm in the spotlight.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we don't fight.
You can go ahead.
No, the only thing that I was going to say on top of that is, I think it's probably the easiest thing for us to think about. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not being loud for everybody who's going to bed. So I'm not doing a haunted house, but is to keep in mind that even though we have this Team Cup challenge going on and we're all trying to get our numbers in terms of getting Success Hub points, just to always keep going back to remembering that, why we're here. We're really trying to help people with setting them up with a program that will help them reach their goals, and whether or not they choose to do the challenge pack or even try Shakeology right off the bat, because not everybody is as open to trying that. Just try to keep in mind that as you're building these relationships and you're helping them, even if it's with just a program, that maybe eventually they will come around. So, don't worry about, I guess, whether you get that successful point or not. So, and I'm getting a little feedback on my phone. I don't know if you guys are hearing it or if it's just me, but.
No, I'm hearing it.
Okay.
Well, we
so
could
my
probably.
connection could be funny, but we can probably wrap it up.
Yeah. I think this is, I mean, I hope, Larissa, you got some good info out of it. I think for me, it was good to just even say it and look over my notes again. You know, that's what I highly encourage people to do, is keep going back, because honestly, the information never changes. It's always the same. It's just reminding yourself to do those simple things that are so, it's just like exercising. Exercising is simple to do. It's simple to make time for it. It's just doing it, right? And we can come up with a million excuses why we don't need to do that, or why I'm not going to eat right today, or why, you know, whatever. There's a million excuses for why you're not going to do something, but there's also a million reasons why you should do it. And it's the compound effect. The more you do it, the better things will be. So with that, this will be recorded. I will put it in the group tonight when it finishes doing what it needs to do, and we'll go from there. Everyone have a great week, and let's get those selfie sticks.
That's right. I could have used it this week for sure.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks. You too.
Night.
Yeah.